Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And thank you to Redscorpion for offering to let me use their account for the showcases for Velzard and Guy. So this is not my main account. This is Redscorpion's account, so whatever he has, we're going to work with. The team comps may look a little bit different than what I would have in my box, but hey, I'm not summoning. I'm still farming up those free-to-play 2 multis on my account. So once we do that, I'll pull and maybe I get lucky. Probably not, though, because we all know what my luck is like. So again, thank you, Redscorpion, for letting me use your account. But we are here to showcase the new Velzard attack unit. So what does Velzard do very, very quickly? She is physical. She is AoE, she is obviously space, she uses the space lance you get from the first stage of the new Tempered Edge, and AoE for 250 up to 290, like the hero, and then decreases all targets' guard power by 10%. Again, we don't really care about that right now. I've heard some things that might be important later, but that's a different video. Her first skill, chance to give Frostbite to all targets 100%, so guaranteed Frostbite, which increases the percentage of the debuff that you put on an enemy, and then does 150% basic space physical attack to all targets. So immediate damage based on her attack stat. We will show off that killing, and if we move on to phase 2, or how that actually works out, we will show that. And then her second skill is a orb change from 2 blue to 2 green, and it's the standard double orb change. Nothing too special about it. Her trait, when your troop contains 3 or more battle characters, you increase your skill points by 2 every 2 turns. That goes up to, I believe, 4 or 5 every 2 turns. When you get to 92, this Velzard is, I think, 88. Yeah. So let's test her out in a few different scenarios and see how well she does. Okay, so I just want to get a quick test in here. We are on Crucible stage 68 versus the Pierce Bats, 99,999 defense. So I wanted to see if Velzard's first skill can bypass that and just immediately kill these bats, or if it's going to do 1 damage like everything else does. So here we go, and yeah, it does 1 damage, okay. But the Frostbite will kill, because it's a percentage of their HP, and they only have like 10 HP or something. So let's do these attacks. Oh, we pierced there. Natural pierce. And then the Frostbite should kill after this. And there we go. Okay, so there is a benefit and not a benefit to that skill. So good test right there. Super high defense for the enemies means that that attack will do less and less damage until it does literally nothing. But against bats like that, where they have literally 1 health, then the Frostbite will follow up and kill them. So that's good to know. Let's test out if it takes a turn, if we kill things outright. So yeah, we'll be right back. Hold on. Alright, second test for her Frostbite skill is that if this immediate damage kills outright, we are on turn 1. This is Crucible stage 1, so they will die. Guaranteed. But will we move on to turn 2, or will this be like a rewind turn and it will remain turn 1 because we haven't actually selected orbs, right? So that's the whole point, is that we need to select orbs and hit activate, and then after that activation is done, the enemies will attack and the turn will, can follow up and it'll be turn 2. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's find out. So Frostbite kills, and they're dead, and it is still turn 1. Ooh. Okay, so it is like a rewind turn, so now we can do this and kill these guys, and it will still technically be turn 1. And I think there's another phase after this? Okay, so yeah, now we're on turn 2, even though we've had 2 rounds of enemies come through. That is good to know. I guess if you get enemies very, very, very low with alt skills or normal attacks, and you're waiting for a third phase to come in for turn bonus or something, you could, in theory, kill those enemies with her skill. and then it will remain turn 2, turn 3, whatever turn you're looking for. Okay, well that's good to know. I'm glad we got it in the video. Let's move on. Alright, so the first battle that we're going to take her into is Crucible 90 versus Milim and Hakuro. And I've actually got the wrong because I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put you there. Alright, so we're going to run the 3 new units together. And we'll see how this goes. So Velzard's an orb changer, Misery is a green booster, and then the hero and Rimuru are supports. This is not a team where you're building up a lot of points, though, for maximum buffs. This is a team where you're ulting pretty much as quick as possible, as much as possible. So there is no way that we can really get a lot of good buffs on Velzard unless we really play around with, you know, buffing and then moving her to the back and holding her there. Because we can definitely do that with the attack and the space boost, and then we can use the crit, like, the turn that we need it. We can certainly try, and we'll see what her power is, but let's just dive in real fast. So we have, what, 4 hero and 2 miseries, so let's go ahead and bring in Velzard for the hero, and then we'll send some normal attacks, and we'll just kind of see how much damage she does right off the bat with no real buffs on. So we're hitting 51, 56. Okay, that's pretty good actually. Oh, animations are still on as well. Okay. All right, so let's turn those off. Should have done that when I was in here. All right, there we go. And okay, well. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna... Yeah, we'll just send her away again. Okay, well this means that we'll get a good amount of protection gauge on turn 3 from the hero and Rimuru. So let's go ahead and spread this damage out. Okay, Misery's doing 32. I think she's only 92 on this account, so that's also not terrible. Alright, Hakuro is nerfing blues, which is fine because Velzard is a blue orb changer, so let's go ahead and bring her back in for the hero. And then we can use her orb change. Alright, cool. And now let's use Guy, and let's lower their resistance down for AoE skills. Alright, yeah, let's do that. So let's do this. That's 15% down on AoE skills. And so now, after this is done, we can use her first skill and do some immediate damage and see how much that'll be. And then we can do it again when we have the Rimuru buff and see if an additional attack buff will affect the damage output. So that gets us an ult right there. So let's see how much damage this Frostbite does right off the bat. So 100%. And then 150 base space physical attack, dear lord. Alright, this does 7,000 on Milim, I think. It did the same amount to Hakuro, so 7,000 right there. It's pretty good. Let's go ahead and... Does he? Oh yeah, he does change. We didn't even have to do that. Okay. So now, let's bring Milim in. Because I want to hold, and then I want to buff next turn with Rimuru and see how high that attack goes up again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully you don't kill. Okay, good. Ugh, allergies today are really bothering me. Alright, that's fine, that's fine, also fine. Okay. So now, let's bring Velzard back in for Misery. And they still have that AoE debuff. So all target attack damage resistance by 19.5 because of the Frostbite. It amplifies it by, 1.3 times. So instead of 15, it's 19.5. So now, let's go ahead and get the attack buff on Velzard. And now her attack stat is up to 11.9. And now let's use that same skill again. And we'll see how much higher we hit from 7,000 on Milim. So right here we do 6.9. Okay, so the wording in here is correct. So basic space physical attack damage. So it is not modified by a buff. It is only your set attack stat that you come into the battle with. So there's no way for you to alter it by using Rimuru, by using Veldora. I don't even think it'll crit. We can definitely test that as well. But it's literally just whatever damage that it does, it's going to forever do. And the only way it's going to be modified is if the enemies have a higher defensive stat of some way. Maybe. Who knew? Who knows? Maybe guard or maybe like super high defense will just negate it altogether. I don't think it would, because I think that would be kind of missing the point. But we have an attack boost, and we have Frostbite on them, and they're pretty low, so let's go ahead and just use Velzard's ult and try and lower them down or straight up kill them. So let's send these two on Hawkero, get them to kind of slightly the same amount of health. Let's use Guy again, just for funsies. Alright, there's a full green, but we're not going to send the full green. We're just going to send these two, and then the ult, and we'll see how much damage her ult does. Okay, so those do 7,000 right there. Alright. The ult looks good, her outfit looks good, and then this face she makes right there also looks really good. Dancing Lance does 22.7 with the 40% Rimuru attack boost. Okay. Alright. And then also the 19.5% AoE resistance down from Guy. Alright, so let's, okay, well, it killed it anyways. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Just because I want to test out if we can do a crit modifier on that account. I've reset the iPad, and I've checked the graphics settings, and they're already as low as they can go, so my iPad is just a potato. Cool beans. But right here is actually a good hand, because we can swap out, Misery, I guess? We can swap out Misery for Velzard and get a full hand of greens turn 1, so showing off the orb change. I mean, it's nothing special, but hey, it's good to have a full hand. And we'll see how much damage she does on the 200% right here. 10.7. Respectable. Half her health bar is gone now. So, and that wasn't even with the Misery boost either. Okay, defense lowered. Alright, so we have Guy, who can change that entire hand again. So 87. Okay, so let's do the crit buff. And now let's also use the Frostbite. And now we'll see if this will crit, or if it will just, again, be very basic. I assume it's going to be basic, and it's going to do about the same 7,000 damage, somewhere around there. It did less, because we didn't have Guy's debuff on it. So it also did not crit. So therefore, it is only solely based on your start of turn attack stat. No other modifiers will come and alter that. So that's kind of a letdown. I would have hoped that, because it's such a weird skill. Like 150% base attack. Like it's not crazy. Even dagger rolls at 250% isn't crazy. I would have hoped that you would have been able to modify that and make it a very, very, very strong random attack if you had the setup, but that's not the case. So, highly unfortunate, but it's good that we got it on video and got the test in there so people are aware. Let's quit this out and let's move on to the next fight. Okay, next we're going to go into EX Sky Dragon with the Veldora team, because I want to see if we can get all the major buffs on Velzard, how hard she will hit. So we've got, Veldora's going to stack. We've got the hero, we've got Rimuru, we've got Milim for the space boost. The only thing that we're missing here is an ult boost. So we are missing a very decent chunk of buff right there. But I need to bring an orb changer. We can't just pray that we're going to get natural hands of blue all over the place. So Maybe, you know, I could end up swapping out Rimuru for Water Shuna or Wind Millum. I mean, his support is becoming slightly outdated. It's still good, but there are better units nowadays that would equal his support buff while still doing more. But, let's try it. It's a full space team. Oh, I didn't check if his EX board was done. Oh well. Because that's extra, what, crit damage, I think? If Millum is in a battle slot? We'll check it after this. Let's just try and get a decent stack on Velzard and see how hard her AoE can hit. Because remember, it is an AoE at the end of the day. Oh, well, I mean, that's something, isn't it? Alright, let's see if it'll even load for me. Alright, cool, it did. Velzard will come in for the hero. And we will orb change with Frey to make sure we can get as much blue as possible. Yeah, that works. Or not. Alright, let's try this again. Can the game handle a 5 orb send? It can if I'm quick. Okay, 6,900 damage, nice. Looks to be a decent hand. Alright. So let's go ahead. Oh, we got a counter with her too. Okay, so let's get a stack of Veldora in, and then we're going to send her away. That way we don't get attack nerfed. And remember that is a thing on this stage. So let's burn out... let's burn these oranges out of the way. Alright, there's the nerf, there's his defense and guard. Now... Ooh. Very, very good. Alright, so let's bring Velzard in for Frey. Let's use her orb change here. And we get a full hand of greens. And another stack of Veldora. So for this team, what do we need? We need, what, 165 points? Because we're not using Drago, we're not using Carrion's crit buff. So that's pretty much all we need. So we're ready with the ult. 2 stacks now, so we need 1 more stack of Veldora for us to have everything that we would like. So let's go ahead and take you out again so you don't take any unnecessary damage. And then we'll keep sending along right here. Maybe we'll try and get up to 3 stacks, because I want to do this when his guard is down and his defense is gone, which is now, apparently. So that's max points. So that is 180 right here. So we can nuke next turn. Well, only 2 stacks of Veldora, though. That's not really ideal, but pretty much everything is nerfed at this point. So we might as well. And his health is low enough, so... you're gonna come in for Frey. Only 1 orb. Really unfortunate that played out like that. So we've got that. We've got this. We have Drago coming in. Not Drago, Space Boost. Oh, we don't have enough for the Frostbite, though, because that would actually increase the crit resistance down from the hero. Okay. Okay, so you know what? We can hold this because these are all... No, we can't because that will leave. Okay. We'll do a comparison then. We'll do this nuke now, and then we'll come back on the same kind of setting and then add Frostbite and see what the damage numbers are going to look like and how different they will be. So Velzard does 51.5. Almost kills him. That's pretty good for only 2 stacks and no ult boost. 51.5. So let's now come back on the same exact run and add Frostbite, and we'll see how much extra damage he takes. Okay, we are back. So turn 7, we still have only used 2 buffs of Veldora. We have the ult for Velzard. We have used the space, attack, and crit buff, and Drago, so that's currently active. So we know that the hero's skill is a 30% crit resistance down on the enemy. But because of the Frostbite, we are now looking at a 39% crit resistance down because of the multiplier from Frostbite. So we should do more damage than the 51k that we did the first time with the ult. So I'm thinking about like 55, 54k. It won't be a gigantic increase, mind you, but any increase is good damage, right? And it's free. So we should definitely kill with this ult, so I'm not going to bother sending anything else. And we do 56. Okay, so I was a little low in the expectation, but it's not a huge jump in power, right? It's not like you're going 50 to like 70k. But that 6,000 some difference, well, 5,000 point difference, could be in the difference between you killing and you not killing. So, and it's free, essentially. Like, you're going to use Frostbite because you want to do that extra damage, plus you want to get them debuffed. And if we're going to have a unit that has Frostbite, you can probably bet your ass that the next 2 units that are coming for space will also have some kind of debuff, because they always capitalize on that. The first water meta that had Velzard with Frostbite was Pierce, and Pierce resistance down, and defense down, and a whole bunch of debuffs, so I would assume the same thing out of the next 2 space units. So that is showing off that aspect of Velzard. Let me do something funky real fast. Hold on. Alright, so let's pretend for a minute that you didn't have Space Millum for her 50% space boost. So, quite unfortunate, yes. But, you know, we are meant to debuff with this Velzard, and she capitalizes on debuffs, so I figured I'd give a different unit a chance to shine. One that you don't use very often, or pretty much at all, and that is Grucius. Because he has a skill, so let's swap out Millum real fast. He has a skill, decreases a single target's physical attack resistance by up to 40%, and it's at level 9, so Red, I'm sorry, I used some materials to awaken that up. 38%, which will then get increased because of Frostbite. So we have Frostbite applied already, so let's go ahead and do this, and let's figure out just how high this is up to now. So 49.4%. Okay, almost 50% physical attack resistance down. And now we're going to go ahead and bring in Velzard for Grucius, and we're going to use the attack buff and the hero buff. In the same way, we have 2 stacks of Veldora ready to go, so this is essentially the same turn but without the space boost, and we'll see if we do any additional damage or if we lose damage. Because it's about 50, the space boost is 50. Is it equivalent? No, but let's find out anyways. And we do 43-2, so definitely much, much less. Not the 56 that we were looking for. But, again, if there comes a unit in the next 2 units that have debuffs of similar strength alongside another buff or so, or small boosts, then you can definitely, increase the amount of damage that you do because of the stacking debuff effect plus whatever small boost they give, because obviously with Guy you're not running major buffs. You're not running more than maybe 2 big time buffs. The hero and Rimuru being AoEs, and with this meta being what I believe focused on AoEs, I think that bringing Space Millum and Carrion is not really going to fit well in this specific team setup. So I expect 2 more AoEs, maybe with additional debuffs, maybe with very small buffs, kind of like what Shinsha was with her 15% light boost. Maybe we get like a 15% space boost, and then a physical resistance down, I don't know, on all enemies. Would that counteract Guy? All targets, no, because that's an AoE resistance down, so it would be different still. So those 2 would combine. Okay. So yeah, Velzard, I think, what are we at? Probably like 25-ish minutes now. I think that's a good place to stop. We've shown off what Velzard can do in her own settings. We didn't go into Tempered Edge, but that'll be a separate video. So, initial thoughts on Velzard is she's good, but I kind of wish they had made her just a little bit different than the old Velzard, because they both have Frostbite. So that's nothing new. We know what Frostbite does. And then this extra 150% basic attack, it's not great. 5,000, 4,000, 6,000, depending on the strength of your enemy. It could be less if they have much higher stats. So I'm not over the moon about the amount of damage we're doing with that skill. Thankfully, she doesn't nerf herself like another unit does that came out with the almost same skill, but we don't talk about that. The orb changing is good, but it's still very basic. I think, like, if you took away the base space physical stuff and you just had Frostbite and the orb change, I think she'd be a pretty bad unit overall. Like, sure, she has boosted stats, but she's boring. She's plain. We're about to hit the 1 year anniversary, and we've seen the power creep that has come in. We've seen the weird, wonky kits, the things that, you know, units do. We had Shion and Shizu. The wind meta was interesting, but it had a lot going on. The water meta was another stacking meta, and you could call a lot of those units basic as well. But this is Space 2.0, right? You have aspirations and goals to live up to, and right now I just don't think this Velzard is it. I don't know. I think, did she impress me with her output? Kind of. Do I think she's worth summoning for if you don't have a space team? Or you're looking for a new team to run? No. I don't think so. The water team, if you have the water team, is good enough to beat just about anything because of the soul power of Hinata and all the support they put around her. And if you have the Space 1.0 team, like, I don't really know if you need this team at all. But again, let's wait and see what the other 2 units are going to be, what kind of support we get for Velzard, if she is going to be the quote-unquote primary DPS of the team. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on Velzard. Do you like her besides her outfit? Like, do you like her kit? Do you like her design? Or are you kind of like me, where you're just kind of not impressed and kind of bored? Let me know. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.